Welcome, ጌታቸው, advisor to the President and spokesperson of Tigray's Central Command. Thank you for coming to the studio.
My pleasure.
To brief us about the latest developments. Thank you. So where do we stand in terms of Tigray's resistance against this invasion, this total war on Tigray?
Well, it's quite obvious. It's been quite obvious that Abiy Ahmed and his partner in crime, Isaias, has for almost 3 years now been waging all kinds of symmetrical warfare against Tigray. But it's well over 21 days now since they came out of the closet and declared an open war against Tigray. And we've been waging resistance against their onslaught, and Tigray's defense forces, Tigray special police forces, militia forces, and the people at large have been making every effort possible and using every arsenal at their disposal to defend against the interest of Tigray, against the invasion of Tigray. So as far as we're concerned, we've been doing everything in our capacity to pay them in their own coins. Abiy has deployed literally every division except for probably one mechanized division in Ogaden to Tigray, to suppress Tigray, to kill, as per his promise, the children of Tigray so their mothers could cry. Isaias has been doing every effort he could, exerting every effort he could to get even with TPLF and the people of Tigray for obstructing his pharaonic dreams of becoming the Kodio in this region. Okay, so we've been bearing the brunt, but we've been fighting to the nail against them, and we have honestly succeeded against all odds, despite tactical setbacks here and there, where they get to not occupy, but at least enter towns, which they bombard and then loot wantonly. They have been losing thousands after thousands of army personnel, and our resistance has been very effective as far as we're concerned. That's all I can tell you.
So what signal is this invasion sending to the people of Tigray, to the countries, the two countries involved in the war against Tigray, and also to the region and beyond?
Look, one thing should be clear. Abiy is not here for, as he claims to be the case, not for the sake of law enforcement. You don't enforce law through MiG fighters, to raining bombs against innocent people. Tanks are not good materials for law enforcement, as far as I know. 155 millimeter self-propelled howitzers raining their rockets on helpless children are not ordinary materials of law enforcement, as far as we know. So Abiy was in it because Tigray and TPLF represented the only obstacle against his authoritarian ambitions all over Ethiopia. Isaias has issues. Isaias is an autocrat in Eritrea, but he still fancies himself a pharaoh, a modern day pharaoh who can lord it over the entire region. So he still sees obstacle in the TPLF and the people of Tigray. So they have a common enemy here. So they have deployed, Abiy has deployed all but one division, probably mechanized division. I'm not sure if he did it consciously. He probably would deploy it now that we have dealt with most of the divisions now. But Isaias has also deployed more than 50% of his divisions. And the signal is that these two power crazed, power, in psychology they would call them megalomaniacs, would stop at nothing to unleash war against anyone and any group that they think will stand in the way of their authoritarian ambitions. In fact, what Abiy and Isaias are doing right now is sending tens of thousands of helpless youths as cannon fodders, which I can assure you our forces have been killing, much to their consternation. I mean, we're not talking about killing an enemy that you feel excited about killing. We're talking about helpless people who are being flogged into fighting. And then, we're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of people getting killed simply because Abiy has a deadline to make. That's very unfortunate. Isaias has an agenda which is humiliating Tigray, and Abiy thinks the only obstacle that he faces in his quest for authoritarian, in achieving the authoritarian ambitions is Tigray and TPLF, and then he wants to sacrifice tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands if need be, of Ethiopians so he could achieve his deadline. That's what I can say. It's very unfortunate. But Tigray has been fighting and fighting to the nail. We're fighting and we'll continue to fight.
Talking about Abiy's deadlines, how do you compare it to the recent encounters, military encounters on the ground?
Look, Abiy is the kind of guy who thinks everything works according to his poorly written plans on a paper. So he must have told the likes of Birhanu Jula that he wanted his campaign over by Friday or by Wednesday or by Monday. But I know for a fact he wanted it to be over last Monday, maybe Friday. And then it didn't work out. And he also likes to keep shifting the goalposts. And he said it would be over by Friday, and then it wasn't over. And the other day he was telling people on record that his forces will be in Mekelle on Monday. And now he realized his forces or his tanks are not going to be in Mekelle on Monday. So he comes up with a new deadline where as it turns out, I am offered another 72 hours to hand myself over. Okay, and the people of Tigray are being told that unless they hand themselves over within 72 hours, and then they'll. And what is strange is note what he says about putting timetables for people to hand themselves over, or to humiliate themselves, as it were. What is strange is he does it in a so shamefaced way, in a shameless manner, that he doesn't even see the contradiction of what he's been saying for the last couple. The thing is, Abiy would have liked to swallow us alive 100 years ago. Pardon my exaggeration, but he couldn't do it. And then he tells the rest of the world that he would do it tomorrow, and then it wouldn't work out. And then he keeps telling the entire world that he's going to do it 72 hours later. And even more strange is the fact that he comes out in public that if within 72 hours something doesn't happen, that people fail to hand me over to him, I don't know where they're going to find him, then he would bombard the city. I'm particularly interested in reading history books. I'd be lying if I say I have encountered people who openly declare their intention to bombard the city simply because some difficult people like myself and Debrecen are not handed over to him. It is strange. It's downright strange. Why is he doing it? He is a prisoner of his own flimsy excuses, his own borrowed dreams, his own promises. So he promised to people, maybe to Isaias, that he would take over Magala by Monday, and it's not working, and then he wants to make sure there is another chance. But the 21st Division today was absolutely decimated. It was supposed to have found a magic wand towards realizing Abiy's dreams. It didn't. And Eritrea's forces, the northern side of the front, are still suffering the same fate. It will continue. They'll keep fighting because they have to meet a timetable, which Abiy thinks he needs to meet it, because he had already promised to people that he would do it on Monday. Which Monday? Nobody knows.
What next? What will this war be taking? What form will it take from now on?
What we are doing right now is we're conducting people's war. It's not like we're going to match every division for every division. Abiy has deployed every division in Ethiopia. The last division was the 22nd division, which was in Walaga. It's now deployed in Tigray. So what we have is Isaias has deployed more than 24 divisions now. So we dealt with the commando division in Idaga Hamus yesterday. It was routed. I don't think they will stop because they have ambitions. They don't care about the youth they are sending as cannon fodders. They don't care about the helpless people they are sending our way, so our forces could kill them to the point of exhaustion. They don't care about their people. They don't care about what consequences such moves as they are making are going to bring about. So they will continue to send thousands after thousands. And for us, the best thing for us to hope is that the rest of the country will wake up to the fact that Abiy is trying to realize his borrowed dreams at the expense of tens of thousands of Ethiopians. But for us, the people of Tigray, fighting against any invasion, whichever way it comes, is what we're going to do, what we have been doing, and will continue to do so. But it's going to be a people's war, and people everywhere will be fighting the aggressor, the invader, wherever they see it, wherever they find it, and will prevail.
And finally, is Tigray being properly understood by the international community in this war? Is it being properly characterized? And also, do you still see if peace has a chance?
Well, peace there always is a chance for peace, but it's contingent upon whether the rest of the world thinks peace has a chance. That's where the international community comes in. The international community is a motley crew. It's a mixed bag. Probably the other day I was reading a printout of Tibor Najis and the Michael Rayner, Ethiopia's America's ambassador to Ethiopia, and you wouldn't be mistaken if you assume that these are people in Abiy's cabinet. They obviously were more interested in creating a sort of make-believe story about Abiy's benign intentions than playing a very positive role as leaders of, at least as the diplomats of powerful country in the world. So if the international community, for example, takes its cue from the Americans, obviously it's going to be. But we know for a fact the international community has been expressing its concerns as well. But simply expressing concern is not good enough. Abiy needs to be told in no uncertain terms that his shenanigans with Isaias are not only costing Ethiopians dearly, but also will be a drag on the efforts to create a stable sort of region stable region, Horn of Africa region. While I can appreciate some efforts by the international community, members of the international community, but the fact that the international community still is worried about being PNG'd, being declared persona non grata by Abiy, than clearly pointing out the excesses of Abiy's reckless moves. I heard Tibor Nagy thanking the government of Eritrea for not responding to Tigray's provocations. For God's sakes, Tigray didn't provoke. We have 24 divisions, Eritrean divisions in Tigray. And it's very unfortunate. International community, the US government included, are barking up the wrong tree. We are the aggressed, not the aggressors. We are the victims, not the villains. And we know we have justice on our side, and we'll fight to the finish, and we'll prevail.
ጌታቸው ረዳ, advisor to the President and spokesperson of Tigray Central Command, thank you for your updates and reflections.
My pleasure.